today's topic is pollination. Pollination means process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma is known as pollination. As we already discussed, flower have two main reproductive parts. First one is this part. This part is known as stamen. Yes. Male reproductive part of a flower. And second is, my dear, this green one part is female reproductive part of a flower. So male reproductive part of flower stamen have two parts. This one is known as anther and this stalk or needle-like structure is known as filament. This anther contains pollen grain. Pollen grains contain male gamete or male sex cell. And second one is this one, female reproductive part is known as carpel. Carpel hai, my dears, three parts. Stigma, this is style, and third part is ovary. Yes, pollination means when these pollen grains will get transferred from anther to the stigma. This process is known as pollination. Process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma is known as pollination. Pollination occurs by insects, by water, by wind, and by animals, by birds, by bats also. So first, these brightly colored, attractive leaves of a flower known as petal attract the insects. Beautiful color of petals attract the insects, or fragrance of flowers attract the insects. When these insects like honeybee sit on this flower, these pollen grains attached with anther. These pollen grains get attached with the body of this honeybee or butterfly. After that, this honeybee move towards, my dears, move towards the stigma. So we already discussed, stigma is the sticky part of carpel. So pollen grains get stuck with the stigma. Now, my dears, this pollination is of two types. One is self-pollination. Self-pollination means if pollen grain is present on anther, will get transferred to the stigma of the same flower. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the same flower, or transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma of another flower of the same plant is known as self-pollination. While a second one is cross-pollination. Transfer of pollen grains from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of different plant, or another plant. That is known as cross-pollination.
Hello students. We all know how beautiful, sweet smelling and attractive flowers are. Apart from adding beauty, flowers are very important to plants because they are the reproductive parts of plants. The reproductive parts of the flower include the stamen and the carpel. The stamen, which is the male reproductive part of the plant, comprises a filament, an anther, and pollen grains. The carpel, also called the pistil, is the female reproductive part of the plant. It consists of a stigma, a style, and an ovary. Pollen grains contain male gametes, and the ovary contains ovules, which are female gametes. During sexual reproduction, a male gamete combines or fuses with a female gamete. But how does the male gamete reach the ovule in the ovary? Let's understand this. The nectar, smell and flowers attract insects and birds. When these animals come in contact with flowers, the pollen grains from the anthers stick to their bodies. When these animals visit another flower, the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma of that flower. This process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is called pollination. The insects, birds, and other animals that move pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower are called pollinators. Apart from insects, birds, and other animals, wind and water also help in pollination. Light pollen grains can be carried away by strong winds. Pollen grains from plants growing near water bodies are carried by flowing water. Hence, wind and water also help in pollination. Now, let's understand how pollination occurs in plants. There are two types of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. In self-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. Self-pollination occurs in plants such as tomatoes and sunflowers. In cross-pollination, the transfer of pollen grains occurs from the anther of a flower of one plant to the stigma of a flower of another plant. Cross-pollination occurs in plants such as daffodils and apples. So today we learned how self-pollination and cross-pollination take place during